Okay, so I wanted to make this video. I've had some questions about the modifications I've made to this XOP saddle slash harness. And more or less what I did was I modified it to the function that I wanted to use it for. I don't intend to use it as a harness. Initially, I thought that may be a good idea, but over time I started playing with it and I found that it's not what I want to do. So I wanted to turn it into a more traditional saddle. And also, even if you're not going to turn it into a more traditional saddle and you do want to keep these straps, you can. But I still think you should cut some things off. So like here, this was really long, so I cut that off. On the leg straps, these are the ones that are intended to be used for, they're the one with the little hook. That is the one that you're supposed to use if you're going to use it like a saddle. And then there was another one that would clip into this that would be used if you were going to use it like a harness. So I completely cut that strap off. So it's just one less thing I have on here that I have to worry about. And then the hooks that are used for the saddle, I cut all the excess off of that and burned it. You're going to want to burn all of your ends, that way they don't fray. And I did the same thing here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut this off entirely. And I wanted to wait till I did the video to show you that and how I do it and the reason for doing it. And then additionally, the bridge I cut probably at least in half, probably more, because I just don't need that long of a bridge that came with it. And I put a little tape on the end, tied a little knot, and there we go. And I may even cut this shorter. And I was thinking about completely removing this carabiner and tying the prusset knot directly to the loop in the saddle. So, because I just, if I untie this end of the prusset knot and loop that in, then it completely removes the need to have that carabiner. I got to think about that a little more to see if there's any benefit to having a carabiner there. So I may do that, but let me run inside. I left my scissors in the house. So I want to pause this real quick and I'll be back with scissors and I'll show you how I'm going to cut this off, where I'm going to cut it off, and a cool feature that enables you to basically make a belt out of this. Stay tuned. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this thing because honestly, it's just a pain in the ass. I already cut the tether off the back, but I want to get rid of it altogether. It's just unnecessary. I just don't need it. I want to basically turn this XOP saddle into a traditional style saddle. So, but the problem is when you unhook this saddle wants to just fall off. And you know, this may vary, and you can, of course, you can adjust your bridge and make like kind of a belt out of that. But then when you're in the stand and you go to stand up, what happens is this thing falls right off you because there's nothing here tying it together. So the way I figured out to get around that is I'm going to completely unhook one side of this clip. And then I have a clip here. Okay. Now on the other side, you remember the harness leg strap? It has an open, I guess you would call that a square link or whatever. Now I can take that and feed the part of this strap through like so. And now I've created a belt that I can use for this saddle. And that way, when I take this off, it still remains on. And then I'm just going to simply cut these that I no longer need, burn them. Like so. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And there's one on the back too, which I might have to take it off to do. Turn out of the wind a little bit. It is a wee bit windy out here today. So that's a pretty cool sex swing tree diaper modification that you can do to your XOP. I think it's a decent saddle. I mean, I've only tried on other saddles. This is the only one I've ever owned, but I have tried on a couple. And I don't think it is as comfortable as, say, like a tethered, or we're having technical difficulties. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. And we're back. But I do believe it's for $200 when you get a platform with it. If you want to, you know, make some adjustments to the thing and make it more comfortable, it's not a bad deal, and it's not a bad saddle. I have not hunted in it yet, so I'll have a little bit more thorough opinion if you want to tune into the podcast, the Beers and Deers podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, what have you. And later this season, I'll give a more accurate review after I've spent a lot of time hunting in it and tell you how I feel it is comfort-wise. But initially, my initial opinion is it's pretty comfortable. So I think it's definitely worth a grab. I'm gonna make sure I don't cut the wrong things off here, and because some of this stuff, you know, I might leave, like this opposite side of the used to be shoulder straps, and my phone's about to take a dump again. Let me fix this thing. So now I've got, and you don't have to step in, I could have just hooked it up, but now I've got this as my would-be belt, if you will, and it'll keep me from falling, or it'll keep the saddle from dropping on me. So that's kind of cool. And I can hook up my leg strap like so. And then I still have this one, which I think I might cut this this black piece off, but keep this piece of rope, because that's kind of a nice little loop there. I could hook stuff to it. I could use it as a means to carry my ropes or something I can clip in. But yeah, that's the XOP saddle, and it's not a bad gig if you're cheap like myself and not real sure about wanting to dive all the way in and spend $600 on a whole saddle setup. You can get this one for $200 with a platform, and then kind of explore, play with it, see if it's something you want to actually invest into. I just felt more comfortable doing that. Now that I have spent some time doing it, I think eventually I will. I like saddle climbing. I like one sticking is what I've found that I really enjoy doing. And maybe I will upgrade eventually, but for the time being, this thing is going to get me in the woods, and I'm looking forward to icing a whitetail out of my tree diaper. Thanks. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Leave any comments, ask any questions. I can make more videos explaining other things, and give me a shout out. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that little follow button, whatever. Appreciate y'all. Hope you shoot some deer.